let's hunt some ghosts. So welcome to the channel. Let's go ahead and get all the nonsense out of the way. Comment, like, subscribe. You know the thing. So today we're going to be playing Phasmophobia. This game is probably really saturated right now with content. I don't see too many tips and tricks out. I do see a couple that are really useful, and I see some that are not. So today I'm not going to really give you any tips. I'm just going to show you how I play, and you can either learn or comment and say, hey, you should try this. Hey, you suck at this, whatever the case is. Hopefully this is useful. So right off the rip, I am a controller noob. Now for me, my experience is going to be a little bit different if you're using a keyboard and mouse setup. With the controller, the controls aren't really the best for this game. And on the very, very odd chance the developer ends up watching this video, for me, for whatever reason, I have a little bit of a glitch, and I'll show you that once I get into the game. So right off, the first thing I'd like to show is I'm level 20. I haven't really played the game, I wouldn't say religiously, but I have played it a good bit, and I do enjoy the game. So this is kind of biased, maybe not, I'm not sure. Let's go ahead and pick an easy one. It doesn't look like I have probably an easy one. It looks like I have some amateur. I was hoping to get a Tanglewood house. And let's see. There we go, Tanglewood Street. But it is an intermediate, so this will be a little bit more interesting. One thing you notice what I did there, if you leave the screen and go back into it, it does change your options. So you can kind of play around and find the one you really want to use. Now, as far as the items I usually go in with, it's pretty basic what I run with. I always throw in a strong flashlight. If you don't have that, what are you even doing? It's probably, I believe, the best item you can get. I run a thermometer, and usually that's about all you need. And I say usually because depending on the case, you may need more. So I'm gonna throw some crucifixes in as well, some video cameras, some tripods, motion sensor, sound sensor, salt, lighter. I think that's it. So kind of lied there. That is what I usually run. I said the flashlight was pretty much all you needed. That is a lie. For some things, the base stuff that you have, well, let me rephrase that. For all ghosts, you can figure out what it is with just the base items. However, if you want a better chance of figuring out what the ghost is, load more in.
I've also written some notes on the whiteboard if you need them. New intel. Reports of light switching. Possibly harmless, but be careful out there.
Okay, so if you notice when I first spawn in, the first thing I always do is like to get super quiet. Listen to what the guy has to say. For me, sometimes it does help to understand how the ghost is responding, and usually that is a good clue based on how they say. If it's going to be more of a violent ghost, they will say, hey, you know, whoever was here before left in a hurry. For this one, it says light switching, which to me, having played enough, poltergeists love to mess with things, so that could be an already good sign. Next, let's turn around and look at the objectives. I typically will read over these and see what objectives I can complete, but your main objective, of course, is to find out what type of ghost you are dealing with. So for me, the very next thing I do is I always go over, I grab the flashlight, I grab EMF, and I grab the thermometer. And I say YOLO, I open the door, and I go in the house. Take a deep breath. That's always very important. So you'll notice I kind of just walk through the house and turn some of the lights on. The main lights is what I'll always turn on. If it's like the farmhouse, I don't typically open doors and go looking for the ghost. I let the ghost let me know where it's at. This tends to work best for me because if the ghost is going to be violent, pretty much 90% of the time they're going to be messing with stuff as soon as you go in the house. In this case, this ghost seems to be a little calmer. It's not really messing with anything. I don't hear it, but that is the first thing I will do is walk in the house, shut up, just listen. So once I get to this point and the ghost really hasn't gave me any clues, I usually will pull out the thermometer and I'll walk around a little bit looking in rooms and checking temperatures. So it looks like we did have a temperature drop in here, although I don't think that's anything serious. It could just be this garage area, but it is really cold in here compared to other parts of the house, so that could be a good clue. Go ahead and shut this door. We'll turn this light on and we'll ask for a sign. Can you give me a sign? Can you give me a sign? So even though it is colder in there, it could just be the garage. We're going to go ahead and turn the lights off, shut the door, and we'll keep poking around. I do hear a good bit of creaking on this end of the house, so it's likely that the ghost is somewhere on this side, but I need to be sure, and I'm going to start checking other areas with a thermometer. Can you give me a sign? So it's looking like the ghost is possibly on this end of the house. It's the coldest area. I do hear a good bit of creaking in this area, so we're gonna check downstairs real quick in the basement. That is a terrible placement of that. I probably would have lost my absolute mind had I walked down here and not noticed that at the top of the stairs. Okay, so let's wait a minute. I think I just saw something out of the corner of my eye. It was probably this reflection here. It seems to be the coldest in here, and actually when I point it in certain areas in here, it's actually really cold. Let me double check the kitchen. Nothing. Let's check in here, and it's extremely cold right here. And in the garage seems to be really cold as well. Can you give me a sign? There is a bone there. I'm thinking it could be in the garage, but I may be wrong. That is the coldest place in the house, although it is the garage. But it seems like it is extremely cold in here, and I'm hearing a good bit of creaking. So it's either the laundry room at this point, I believe, or the garage. Because there's not much going on. Oh, I just got a 39. Was it picking up outside? I'm not sure about that. I just got 42. Is the ghost possibly hiding in the closet? I don't know. But what we're gonna do is, because we're not getting much, we're gonna go back to the truck and we're gonna ask the board some questions. And by asking, I mean look at the board and see what it is saying. Now that is something that I'd like to point out. If you notice it's colder in the garage than it is outside, that's probably a pretty good chance that that means that the ghost is there. But if you look at my activity, this ghost is being stubborn. So let's take a look at the board. And James Jones is his name, responds to everyone. Let's go ahead and drop the thermometer, and let's grab the talk box. Let's drop EMF, and let's grab fingerprints. Now, the reason I chose to drop the EMF is I want to actually see if the ghost is interacting with stuff. So maybe I don't hear it, but maybe it is interacting with stuff. With this, if it is a certain type of ghost, this will be a dead giveaway of where it is at. hear a lot of creaking in this area. It doesn't look like... Okay, so it is flashing the lights. Let's go ahead and turn our flashlight off and check the light switch, as well as in here. Check these doors. Nothing, nothing. I did hear a footstep behind me. Let's turn the light off real quick. Where are you? Where are you? How old are you? So right off, it gave me an answer, although the answer wasn't very clear. I'm not exactly sure what it said there, but I did get an answer. So I think it's safe to say we found where the ghost is roaming. Now, this was intermediate, so the timer should probably already be down. I don't think that I have any more time. But this activity is not really doing much except for when I just went in that room. So we do have TalkBox, so let's go ahead and log that. Okay, and we're gonna go grab this book. Now that is the problem I have. So again, I am using a controller. If I pick up an item, it's automatically placing it back down. I'm not sure if it's my controller, I'm not sure if it's the game itself, but it is doing some weird stuff sometimes. And it does it with items that can be placed. So like this, you notice it's automatically placing it for me. So typically I have to switch really quick before it places the item. So let's go ahead and grab a camera. Let's go back in and actually, yeah, let's go with this. So I'm not going to do a lot of editing to this video just because I want this video to be as immersive as it possibly can. I'd like for you to be able to see how I play and either critique it and say this is what you could do better, or, you know, hopefully learn from how I play of stuff what to do or not to do. So it was messing with the light in here. I do hear a good bit of movement, so what we're going to do is we're going to drop a camera here in this direction, and we're going to place the book in the garage. If I can, you know, get past this issue I have. And in this case right now, I am pressing the button to place it. And thanks for showing me where you're at. I'm going to put the book next to you right here, and I'm gonna walk away and pretend I didn't see that. Let's get the lights back on. If it is a certain type of ghost, the lights definitely will help you. You definitely want to keep your sanity up, and the lights will help you do that. So after I've done the sweep of the house, I find out where the ghost is at, and now I'll start probing the ghost with certain clues. So in this case, it looks like he is in the garage. We got a visual of that. It sucks I didn't have the camera, because I probably could have got a picture, so we'll take that back in with us this time around. And let's go ahead and watch the camera I did place down, and I'm a toad and left the door shut, so we're gonna go ahead and grab another camera and place it down, and we're gonna go put this one in the garage. And it does look like it's in the garage. My sanity is 100% still. I'm not sure how. I'm not sure if that's bugged, but my sanity is looking great. Let's go back in the house. And we are going to drop this camera in the garage, and we are going to get the freak out. So it didn't write in the book yet. Let's drop the camera over here. This may be a good spot, this may not be. Hopefully it writes in the book. We'll go ahead and pick it up and move it over here. And we're gonna take this camera, we're gonna set it right here. And we're going to turn the lights off, and we're going to get out. We're going to go ahead and hit this switch as well. And we're going to go back to the truck. And hopefully not get hunted before we get back to the truck. I am hearing the ghosts be extremely active compared to before. So we got ghost orbs. So that is great. Let's go ahead and plug that in. I say that is great, but I'm not sure what my last thing could be. So it's either EMF level 5, fingerprints, can't be ghost riding, it can be freezing temperatures. So let's go back in with EMF. That seems like the best logical thing we can do now. And we will also drop this camera, and we're going to go back in with fingerprints. I haven't seen my breath. That doesn't mean that it is not freezing temperatures, but just because I was using the thermometer and I wasn't getting any freezing temps, I'm going to assume that it's not that for now. Okay, it is setting the car off. And that is very frightening, so we're gonna go turn that off because I don't feel like listening to that the rest of the game. It is actively turning lights on because I turned this one off, so that could be a clue also what type of ghost it is. Let's go ahead and do that. Check in the book. I don't see anything. Can you give me a sign? Can you give me a sign? Where are you? Make some noise. So I don't really want to do this, but I need to turn the light off because I'm going to be looking for my breath. If I don't see my breath, that is another indicator that it's not freezing temps. Let's go ahead and poke it and ask for some signs with the lights off. Can you give us a sign? Nothing. So let's take a little trip. And at this point, I'm not getting anything on EMF. Doesn't mean that it's not that. Not getting any fingerprints. I don't see any there. I don't see any there. And real quickly, I don't see any there. So we're gonna go ahead and take a trip outside to collect ourselves. We'll just leave this on just in case it does hit anything. This is the only thing we really haven't used this entire time. So there's a good chance that it is this. I'm just not inside when it's actively doing stuff to see it. It is pretty bare right now. So in this case, since it is not really doing much, I'm probably going to go back in and say its name. Let's go ahead and see. So we've got Spirit Box, Ghost Orb. I don't see any fingerprints and it's not really messing with much, so I'm going to assume it's not that. It can't be ghost riding. It could be freezing temps or EMF 5. So a Jinn, let's see what that says. Will travel at faster speed. Territorial ghost that will attack when threatened. Has been known to be able to travel at significant speed. Turn off the location's power source, prevent the Jinn from using its ability. That's pretty interesting. And our other option was freezing temps, and that means it could be a mare. Let's go back and check that. Mare will increase attack in the dark. Source non-mare making it the most. Turning on the lights around the mare will lower its chance to attack. So with the evidence we have, We've pretty much narrowed it down to those two ghosts. This is where I typically will probe the ghost and ask it questions using its name, especially if it's being extremely unresponsive like this one is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back in there and possibly die. Because if the ghost isn't being responsive now, chances of it responding when I say its name are pretty good actually, because it's kind of just chilling until I'm going to go in there and make it upset. Can you give us a sign? Where are you? So it's not really doing much, so that could be a clue. Because it's not doing much when the lights are on, let's turn the lights off and see how it responds. Where are you? Can you give me a sign? So nothing so far. Let's shut the doors. Let's completely isolate the area where I think it's at in the dark, and let's go check the activity to see how it's responding with those lights off. So it doesn't look like it's actually actively doing anything. I mean, the ghost is kind of just chilling. So now I'm actually going to probe it with its name, which is James Jones. Let's do this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the garage, which is close to it, and I'm going to say its name, and we're going to come back to the truck and see if we get a response. Maybe I won't have to go in the house to get the response I'm looking for. Maybe I can pick it up through the garage. This is actually the first time I've thought about trying this. So let's see what happens. James Jones. James Jones, where are you? So now let's go back to the truck, peek in. And it doesn't look that worked. So let's go in the house, unfortunately. I don't honestly think it's fingerprints at this point. That is not actually, it's not an option, is it? It's only freezing temp or EMF 5. So yeah, let's go in with this now. Somebody's probably screaming in the comments, why have you not checked that? I checked. Okay, so it did set the car alarm back off. Maybe I'll go in there and get an EMF 5 off of that. I absolutely hate the sound of the car going off. Where are you? Okay, so EMF 4. James Jones, where are you? Let's get those lights back on, just because if it is a mayor, I do not want to die. James Jones, where are you? Can you give me a sign? Let's go ahead and check thermometer. Can you give me a sign? So in this case, we've got freezing temps. What I think could be happening, I'm gonna go downstairs. Let's turn this on. And let's come over here in this corner. James Jones, can you give me a sign? So what I thought was happening wasn't happening. In this case, I've probed the gob enough, I believe. Let's try one more time. James Jones, can you give me a sign? So in this case, whoop, we'll scan this room first. So it's being extremely active. Okay. Because it is being extremely active, I'm gonna get out of the house. Whoa. So yeah, the ghost has been extremely active at this point. It's obviously agitated that I've said its name over and over again. It seems like it is roaming more, which can be a great clue for me. So let's come back in here. Our sanity is still great. Let's see. So our options were, let's see, Mayor, I believe, which would be freezing temps, which I have no chance of probably getting, and Jen. Let's see here. Jen will travel at faster speeds when its victim is far away, turning off location's power source to prevent from using its ability. I'm gonna make a guess here. If I'm wrong, this video probably will never make it to YouTube. I actually do not feel like going back in the house. At this point, I think I've done everything I can, at least for my play style. And that's something I love about this game, first of all, is each person can play the game extremely different and get different results based on your play style. But also, you know, that's what makes the game great, especially if you have a team, because if you have a team, one person might be, let's just get in and get out. Other person might be, hey, let's not leave until we have 100% of the clues. My case, the ghost isn't very active until I'm in the house. I'm gonna guess it's a Jen. Let's lock that in, which would be EMF 5. Part of me is telling me to go back inside, and that part of me is that side that's saying, hey, let's get all the clues. This is probably stupid. James Jones, can you give me a sign? James Jones, can you give me a sign? Where are you? Yeah, I'm not having it. I'm not going back in the house. I think I've got the clues that I'm going to get. I got an EMF 4, which was pretty close to EMF 5, so we're going to guess it's a Jen. And we're going to get out of here before we die. So we figured out what the ghost was. That is exciting. I hope you enjoyed this video. Just because you don't have all the clues does not mean that you can't do a little bit of detective work. When I first started playing the game, we actually sucked at it so bad that I could not figure out what room it was. And then when I would find the room, it would already be too late. My playstyle now, as you can see, I'm more passive, and then I get more aggressive when the ghost isn't really showing me much. That way I can hopefully figure out what it is. So we didn't get all the clues, but in a way the ghost did give us clues based on its activities. So once you've played the game enough, you'll start picking up on those, and it will make you a better player. Now, I really hope you guys enjoyed the video. Do the thing.